Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Don't run, don't hide, don't be shy. Just like, comment, and please subscribe. Dealing with the stress, dealing with the pain. Trying to find a way. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of the TD World. It's your host, TD. And you know what? I'm just glad that another week has passed. We are finally into the football season, so things are starting to get interesting. Obviously, we are, in preseason, so things are very vanilla. Things are very, plain, basic, but it's always exciting, I should say, for us to be able to see what these new prospects are, see how things are looking. But as beyond just football and movies, we'll get into that later on. Also, some anime announcements with some of the series that I personally follow. I don't know if y'all follow them, but you're gonna hear about it. But beyond that, let's go into our first segment, trying to dive into another one of Tony's tips. I want to say that last week we were talking about being able to have game and you being able to know what ingredients you're going to need in order for you to be able to have the type of game that you want to have, because a lot of y'all just ain't got it. But the same way that I was giving my fellas some advice, I'm going to give you ladies a couple of tips, because I don't feel like you have the same struggles as us when it comes to needing game. Quite frankly, you ladies can do whatever the hell y'all want to, and you will always be able to find attention. But not all attention is good attention. So with that being the case, I want to give you ladies tips on after you find a guy that you are attracted to, after you find a dude that you thinking like, you know what, I can see me with this dude, then I'm going to teach you how it is that you can lock that guy down. So whether you're the most traditional or the most modern woman out there, listen, you follow these tips, so long as he is even the most remotely into you, you're giving yourself a hell of a shot. Don't say I never did nothing for you. Okay, step one, you gotta assess the market. Be real with yourself. Where do you stand when it comes to this guy? A lot of you ladies tend to oversaturate your value. And I think that that's great. That a lot of ladies encourage each other to feel the best about themselves. The problem with that, though, is that we're not being honest. Listen, I'm with you. Every single one of you ladies are God's gift to the world. But it is your decision, but it is your job to find out if you are a PS5 or a Gucci bag or socks. Because trust and believe, I'm grateful for both on Christmas, but they're not gonna get the same reaction. It's the same thing when you're with a guy. The higher you are on his list of options, the higher your chances are of securing him. The lower you are on those list of options, the more you're gonna have to compromise in order to get that guy. And quite frankly, ladies, there comes a point where it doesn't matter how much you're willing to do. There's a certain level of self-respect you should retain for yourself. And, obviously to each their own. If you're cool, getting cheated on or being talked down to or whatever the case may be, to each their own. Everybody has different levels of tolerance when it comes to their relationship, but me personally, there's just certain levels of respect and certain levels of gratification and reciprocation that I expect out of my partner, and most partners that I've had expected the same thing. But once you assess where you are in the market, once you understand where you stand in terms of his level of attraction and interest to you, coupled with how you stand in the competition, if there is any. Step two, it's not being to pick the married or the selected. Listen, ladies, I understand that an act that requires a certain level of humility for you to be able to put your own pride and put your own ego to the side and say, if I want this guy, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to retain this guy. Because the reality is that humility is the key to a stable relationship. As men, could you imagine how silly it would sound if we said, well, I'm not going to go out and get a decent amount of money and be in relatively decent shape, and I'm not taking showers for these girls? It would just sound delusional. Because at the end of the day, y'all not coming to us. Most of the time, we coming to you. Which means if we're coming to you, then we've got to be able to come to you in a way that caters towards you so we don't, I don't know, scare you off. Ladies, it's the same thing when you're with a guy. You have got to be able to find where you can fit in to be able to cater to that guy. Now, I'm not just talking about some rich dude, you know what I mean? I mean any dude. If you got a guy who is working 12 hours a day, or hell, even if he's working 9-10 hours a day, and the guy just wants to have a home cooked meal when he gets home. If you got nothing that you're doing that halts you from being able to do that, just get it done. Maybe he doesn't require you to cook and clean. Maybe he just wants you to not be so argumentative. Is it not worth being a little bit less argumentative to have long-term happiness? Everything in life is give and take. Don't go into it unwilling to change or unwilling to compromise. If you cater to his standards and not yours, then it should be pretty easy to satisfy the guy. And if he's any man worth his salt, whatever standards that he does bring upon you should not be so crazy that it is now devaluing you or disrespecting you as an individual. I do the exact same thing with my partner. I make sure that if there's something that she's specifically asking of me, or if there's something that she says that she has an issue with, or there's whatever the case may be, I don't just let it ride and say, oh, well, I think otherwise, or you know what, because my opinion of how you feel is different, then that means that your opinion of how you feel, or really just how you feel, is invalid. Most of the times it's more important in those moments to show that I actually do care about making whatever subtle changes I need to make, because I'm not trying to make your life hard, I'm trying to make your life easier. And in turn, I expect the same. When I ask her to do certain things, or if there's something she does I don't like, I simply say, hey, this is what my issue is. This is why I have an issue. Here's what I'd like you to do to change it. Having that level of accountability and also just vulnerability just makes it to where you guys can connect that much quicker. And that's going to make that guy want to lock you down that much faster. And as I said in the beginning, the married are the selected. Best to get chosen. Step number 3, don't be the problem, be the solution. A lot of you ladies are strong, you're proud, you have a lot of things on your mind, you have a lot of things you want to say, and you know what you're talking about. But it's not the fact that you know what you're talking about that's the problem. The problem is the delivery. Sometimes you ladies come across as confrontational, and I think that because of our parents or because of maybe lack thereof, a lot of you ladies are a bit too confrontational, and that's just not cute. Become beauty, become grace. Here's a new rule I want you ladies to live by. There are only a handful of things in this world that cannot be solved with a conversation. If you find yourself having more than that, the problem is not everything else. It's you. If you become his oasis, he'll come running. Because most men, if they again are about they stressed about work, kid, family, money, bills. It is just always a problem. There's always something that you got to deal with. So when I want to come and have a good time with my lady, I don't want that to be interrupted by some argument. My lady is supposed to be my oasis from the and the nonsense that is everyday life. So if I'm worn out in the world, I'm worn at work, I'm worn with whoever it is, and then I come home to who's supposed to be my partner in crime, and she's just tagging on more stress and more anxiety, yeah, I'm not really gonna be looking to lock that down either. Much like a show or music or coffee or a glass of wine or even we run toward our stress relievers. Be his stress reliever and he'll never leave you. Allow him to be vulnerable without using it against him. Do all that for him. And as long as he is a capable man and you have made a good choice, he's gonna do that all for you. Step 4 is a bonus take. You'd always just suck his. Ladies, those are the 4 things I feel like if you just implement, ain't no way that you can't lock down the guy that you try to lock down. Obviously, if he's not trying to lock you down and you doing all 3, all 3, all 4, really all 4. Don't forget that last one. But you doing all 4, ain't no way he don't lock you down. If he's not locking you down, then you need to move on because that dude playing. Clearly he playing because he don't know what the hell he talking about. But if you like those tips, ladies, go ahead, give me a like. Fellas, if you feel like I was on the money, if you feel like there's something else that I missed that these ladies need to be able to implement in order to lock a man down, go ahead and leave that down in the comments. But we're going to move on to our next segment, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hey guys, it's Tony with the TD World. Thanks for checking out this video. Remember, don't run, don't hide, don't be shy. Just like, comment, please subscribe. See you next time.
For me dealing with the stress, for me dealing with the pain, getting trying to find a way.